So logos, pathos, and ethos appeals to, like just starting in actual order, appeals to reason, to sort of logical argument, appeals based on emotional kind of presentation, or trying to get people to feel something as the kind of main vehicle for your appeal. And persuasion based on, I said authority, that's one form of this, but ethos really is more general, kind of credibility-based appeal. So, trust me, I should know better, is the kind of the idea of ethos. Let's look at them. Emotional appeals can, of course, be very powerful, right? In advertising, we see lots of emotional appeals because we see things that are trying to get us to be afraid of things, with a little bit of humor thrown into sometimes. But advertising often speaks to common fears about being not attractive, being stinky, not getting ahead in life, not having nice stuff, and not getting social approval, and so on, right? And then the products are the way to kind of ensure that you don't meet the fate of the people in the commercial who are providing the negative example. So all around us, pathos, emotion-based appeals, but they can sort of backfire in a way because it feels manipulative, kind of, right? That if somebody is sort of trying to scare you into agreeing with them, it might feel like, hey, wait a second, like, are you really presenting this fairly? So pathos really needs to kind of be coupled with some evidence, with some logic to be maximally effective as a sort of packaging for your persuasive appeal. And so, here, sorry, this was the second half of that kind of cheap scare tactics, right? And, what's also called propaganda sometimes, or sort of really overly simplified, exaggerated, one-sided kind of depictions of, us versus them. Something like that can actually really backfire because people are sort of naturally, for good reason, distrustful of those kinds of extreme, simplistic, gut level emotional appeals. Ethos is kind of where you're packaging your persuasive appeal in terms of your credibility, which can come from wisdom, can come from like your exemplary character, and anything that would make your audience think, oh, I can trust this person. They will, they won't steer me wrong, right? And ethos, as you can see it, is, again, it doesn't really function on its own exclusively. It's kind of what makes rational and emotional appeals, work with one another, where, you can't really, if the speaker is not credible, no matter how convincing their logic sounds or how emotionally charged, the idea is, you probably aren't going to be persuaded by what they have to say because they're not credible. So logos, the final thing we'll go through with some sort of specific things about arguments and fallacies. This structure here, claim, evidence, and reasoning, is the basis of argumentation. And we'll see an example of this in the book that is, that is very useful, where you can see sort of how a speech is broken down in these three terms.